Teresa. Thank you for joining me here today. I get asked quite regularly with my gel printing videos, can we do this on fabric? And I always answer yes. I have done one or two projects in the past. I've done a cushion, I've printed on fabric and created a face mask. But I thought it was perhaps time that I just revisited this and did some printing on some different types of fabric just to show you how simple it is. I've taken 3 different types of fabric, a selection of stencils, some acrylic paints and some fabric medium, and I've created these prints today, and I'm going to show you how to do it, how simple it is, and then next week I shall be back and show you a project using the fabrics that we have printed today. But I'm going to move these out of the way, get set up, and I shall be back to show you how it's done. I'm going to begin as usual by giving you a quick rundown of the products I'm using today. This is my 8 by 10 inch gel printing plate, my Jelly Arts brand gel printing plate. You can use a smaller size if you have one. 7 by 5 or 6 by 6 would probably be all right. Any smaller than that, and unless you're going to print multiple times onto a larger piece of fabric, you may struggle to get a large enough area for what we're going to make with our finished fabric pieces. So I'm using my 8 by 10 inch. I know that's going to be perfect for what I want to do. I've cut some pieces of fabric and I've cut them approximately the size that my plate is. Just, you know, they're not spot on, they're a little bit wonky, but that's absolutely fine. And I'm trying 3 different types of fabric today just to show you the different effects that you will get. So we've got this is a denim, a lightweight denim, just to show you that if you don't have a white fabric, you can print on something with colour, but obviously that may affect the colour of the paint unless your paint is very opaque. I have some white canvas here. Obviously this should be really nice for printing on. It has a little bit of a texture, so maybe some of that might come through in the finished print. We don't know, but we've got that. I've cut 2 pieces of that. I've cut 2 pieces of the denim. And my third type of fabric that I'm using today is this unbleached, like a cotton calico. So it's quite a smooth finish and it's a nice natural cream colour. So we can use that. And again, I've cut 2 pieces, approximately the size of my plate. I'm going to be using regular acrylic paint and mixing it with a fabric medium. Now if you've got fabric paint, use that, that's absolutely fine. But if you don't own any fabric paint, rather than having to go out and buy a range of colours of fabric paints, buy a bottle of fabric painting medium and mix it with your existing acrylic colours. That way, you know, you've got lots of different colours at your fingertips for the price of just one bottle of something. Now this one is the Deco Art Americana brand, and the instructions on the back say to mix the paint 2 to 1 with the medium. I've used this before, I know it works. The project that I'm going to be making with the finished prints isn't going to have to go into the washing machine, but by using a fabric medium, you know it's not going to flake off, you know it's going to adhere well to the fabric. So I am going to be mixing with this. If you don't want to buy this, if all you've got is just acrylic paint, you can still print on your fabric, but I can't sort of say what the longevity of that will be as to whether it will wear off, rub off. I don't know. Using a fabric painting medium means it's going to stay put. So I've got 2 different types of paint that I'm going to use today. On my white canvas and my cream cotton calico, I'm going to be using the Deco Art Media Fluid Acrylics. I have Hansa Yellow Light, Phthalo Turquoise and Blue Green Light. I'm going to use those 3 colours on one of them. On another one, I am going to use Sap Green, Quinacridone Gold and Dairy Light Yellow. And on the denim, just because the fluid acrylics can be a little translucent, a little transparent by their nature that they are thinner, and I'm going to be mixing them with a fabric medium, I'm going to use the Dina Wakley acrylic paints. These are a much more heavy bodied paint. So I've got magenta, eggplant and peacock, and I'm going to try those on the denim with the expectancy that they'll give me more of a solid colour. It's the same reason that I used them on the gift wrap project that I did last week, just that they're just a little bit thicker and heavier bodied. To mix my paint and fabric medium, I've got just this as a piece of acrylic that I use it like a palette. I've got a palette knife. I'm going to just put a bit on here and mix it on there, and then I can use my brayer and brayer it directly onto my plate. and I'm using the speedball rubber brayer today. And other than that, I have a selection of assorted stencils just for create my patterning. Use whatever you want to use for the mark making, for the layering, for the patterning. But right now it's time to get started. So I'm going to begin by mixing my paint. As it's instructed on here, 2:1 with the medium. If you've got a different brand, follow the instructions so that it will work. here are the finished prints that we've created today. There are some lessons to be learned. I would say on this denim, the colour choices are important. The pink is showing up really nicely. Also that eggplant colour as well, that deep purple. The turquoise, the dots have shown up well on this one. But when I did this other print, although the pink and the purple are showing well, the turquoise that was left on the plate for the second pull was very little paint, drying quite quickly, so hasn't transferred. I can sort of make it out here, but it is not so obvious. Possibility of trying paler, brighter colours to see how they would work. Maybe a off-white or a white or a bright yellow or something. That might have been a better choice. That being said, usable areas on both of these, and I do like the effect that I've got in this area, particularly on the denim. I'm really, really pleased with the prints that I did on the natural cotton calico. I used the same stencil twice to create a positive and negative, and I got this really quite nice offset effect because I wasn't too fussed about lining it up accurately. So really, really happy with this. I actually quite like even here where the paint had beaded up a bit on the plate, that's transferred. This cotton calico, obviously a really good surface for printing. It's nice and crisp, lots of detail there. So very happy with that one. Also very happy with the other one that I got as well. So really looking forward to using those. Now on the cotton canvas, mixed results I would say. It takes the paint very well. I also like the fact that we can still see the texture in the fabric there. What I will say is that my blue layer that I did, the second layer, was a very thin layer of paint and it dried very quickly on that plate. So although you can see here the dots, they've shown up quite well there, they're not showing up too well on this side. And indeed, when I came to do the second pull here, very little of the blue actually lifted because it was almost dry on the plate. That's why I grabbed another colour and I grabbed this magenta. But again, I put a very thin layer on and we got some dots on here. But again, very little paint actually came up. So advice there, make sure we've got plenty of paint on the plate. I don't know whether this is an effect of the fabric medium or whether it's an effect for the canvas or combination of both. But definitely the layers of paint that I did that were a little bit thicker have transferred much better than those two quite thin layers. That being said, I'm really happy with what I've got here. And again, this one, albeit it's much more subtle, there are definitely usable areas there. There's never a wasted print. I could indeed, if I was unhappy, create another print on top of this, but I'm going to leave them as they are. So that's where I'm going to leave it for today. You can go away, go experiment with your paint, your stencils, your different fabrics that you've got. But I shall be back next week for part 2 and I will be using these prints in what I hope you will find is a fun project. So for now, that's all. If you enjoyed this, please leave me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and I shall see you all next week with part 2. But for now, that's all. Bye.